Hello everybody, thank you for joining me in my kitchen. It's a Sunday evening, it's a little rainy outside, and my favorite thing to do on a Sunday is to give my mother a break because she cooks all week long. So I come and visit and I cook a little something up. Today, you know, this is inspired by my mother. Today I was kind of in the mood to use one of her favorite ingredients, which is smoked salmon. And another one of her favorite ingredients that she has on hand all the time is cream cheese. Philly cream cheese. My mom likes to go with the light stuff, you know, she cooks pretty healthy. I don't really have a preference. I have no issues with fat. I love it actually. But today we're gonna use the light stuff because, you know, you gotta please the lady. So what we're making today is a creamy smoked salmon blini. And for those of you who aren't familiar with what a blini is, it's basically a potato pancake. We're using Yukon Gold potatoes today because they have a nice creamy flesh, and in this case it yields the best product. I cooked the potatoes in some boiling salted water, and I'm about to rice them actually because you want a nice smooth texture for the blini batter. It's, as I said, like a pancake batter, but it's a little thicker than your typical pancake batter. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to rice our potatoes. My potatoes are still hot, and that's very important because you don't want them to stiffen up and become too glutinous, and then it's going to be really hard to work your dough. So my potatoes into a food mill. If you don't have a food mill, you can use the finest setting on your cheese grater. So you just use all your might and you mill the potatoes into the bottom of your bowl. Okay, and that was pretty easy. Once that's done, almost done here. Just make sure you get all the good potato-y goodness off the bottom of the ricer mill. Let's try that sentence one more time. Alright, so our potatoes are riced. Voila. And to that, we're going to add 1 tablespoon of all-purpose flour. Give it a quick stir. It's going to be a little crumbly at this point. And after that's all incorporated, you add 1 whole egg. And you make sure that's fully incorporated before you add your next ingredient, which is 1 egg yolk. Plop. Mix that completely. Okay, that's done. We're going to add 2 tablespoons of sour cream. And you can adjust the consistency of your batter with sour cream. So I usually start off with about 2 tablespoons. And if I find that it's still a bit too thick, then you can always add a little bit more to adjust it. Creme fraiche works well also, but I happen to have sour cream on hand today, so that's what I used. Alrighty, beautiful. Then a little pinch of kosher salt. So we have 1 cup of Philadelphia cream cheese. To that, we're going to add the remainder of our sour cream, which is going to be about 1/3 cup. And this is basically going to make the cream cheese just a little bit less thick. Gives it a nice tang as well. So once again, we're getting a little bit of a workout today. You have to use a little bit of might to get this nice and creamy. And once you get it nice and creamy and smooth, you're going to add the zest of 1 lemon. It ends up being about 1 tablespoon. So just get that in there. You're going to use the juice of 1 lemon. Sometimes half a lemon will do. This is a pretty juicy lemon, so I'm pretty happy with that. We're only going to use half. Some chopped fresh chive and tarragon, about 1 tablespoon each. And those are 2 herbs that go really, really well with fish, especially salmon. And I've gone ahead and diced this beautiful smoked salmon. So you go ahead, you add all of that in. Use about 200 grams of salmon. And you whisk it up. Then, now the salmon's pretty salty, so you don't need to add a whole lot of salt. But taste it, and you know, the salmon that you get may be different than the salmon that I get. And this is gonna get spooned onto our blini once they're cooked. So let's cook some blini. Here we are at the stove about to cook our blini. It's up to you how big or small you want to make them. If it's like a canapé party, you can make them tiny, bite-sized, 1 or 2 bites. If you're having a sit-down dinner, you can make a larger blini. You'd serve it with a knife and a fork. Today I'm making the tiny ones, assuming that it's a little cocktail party, even though it's just my mom and I. My mom and I are going to have a little cocktail party, just the 2 of us today. So I actually have some vegetable oil in this little spray canister. And I'm just going to spray my non-stick pan. And it's on like medium heat right now. You want to get a nice color on the blini, but you don't want them to burn or get too dark before they're cooked through. So take about a tablespoon at a time. And as you can see, the blini batter is kind of runny, but that's perfect. That's exactly what you want. So we got our blinis cooking away for a couple minutes. We're just going to hang out and do a dance while we wait. So our beautiful little blini are done. If you feel them, they should bounce back, which means they're cooked through. They should also be nice and golden on both sides. So that's it. These are the creamy smoked salmon blini, brought to you by Tanya Ganasini. And whether it's for a cocktail party or a sit-down dinner or just a Sunday night with you and your mom, they're super delicious. And my mother is going to be dying to try them. Mother! Girls' night! Quite a mouthful.